And we are live. This is Real Life Military, aka Tommy. This is episode 1, Work, Consume, Die. In my intro video, I talked a little bit about that. Oh, yeah, by the way, please uh, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would be greatly appreciated. But in this one, we're going to talk about the myth of 40-40-40, rich and poor, rich slash the poor, and some upgrades that you can make. So the myth of the 40-40-40 is from the International Academy of Wealth. So in this, it says, for years we've been told to go to school, make good grades so we can get a good job, work for that job for 20 or 40 hours a week for 40 years and retire on 40% of what you earn. We've been brought to that myth for a long time, believing that at the end of our working career, a nice pension is waiting for us and the government will look after us in old age. The truth is that I'm going to go through some statistics, and these statistics have not changed for the last 30 years. So first, 49% of people when they reach age 65 will be dependent on some form of Social Security. 2, 29% of them don't make it and pass on. 3, 12% are completely broke. 4, 5% are still working. 4% are actually financially independent, and 1% is rich. And the fastest growing sector in our population is 85 and above. That when I looked this up and I was researching that, this blew my mind because that's exactly what we're told. I mean, that's what everybody's told, but in the military, for sure, like you work your 20 years and you get a pension, and that's word is like you know go get a college degree, when that, and like people take like forever. Like I know I've got like 2 years done. So then you imagine, okay, you get that college degree, you have zero experience in it, and but basically just knowing that, just doing these bare minimum things, and half the people, 49%, are dependent on Social Security, and that's not even to live the life that you were living. So your expectation on life, having the big house, going on vacations, all that, that's not even included in this. This is just surviving. 50% of people are needing the government just to survive and pay their minimal bills and expenses. Yeah, it's wild. So the big difference between the rich and the poor, and this is what I got from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki, and it's a great book. I would go get it. I listen to it on Audible books, but I like listening to Audible while I'm like in the car or riding my bike or whatever. Rich people buy assets, and poor people buy liabilities. Simple as that. So if you don't know what assets are, so asset would be like a house or a second house to rent, or stocks and bonds, something that you actually buy that actually goes up in price. Simple as that. In other videos, I'll go into assets like buying houses and stocks and all that, because it's good. I've been doing that for the past 5 years since I've been on this journey of mine. So liabilities, what most people buy is stuff like jewelry and buying cars and expensive clothes and shoes and stuff that will it doesn't go up in price, and you're just wasting your money. You buy something, what they say, you buy a car and you drive off the lot, you lose 25%. That simple as that. And when it comes into creating wealth, people say like creating wealth, or another cringe is like build an empire, whatever. Everyone's building these empires, right? But 49% of people can't even live without the government, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what I have done is I try not to worry about the money that I make, because the money that you make, and how most people are, and how I was, like I would make money, I'd put some into a savings account, and that most people don't even do that, right? But people are so worried on their paycheck. And I bring a lot of things back to the military. It's like, oh, making the next rank. It's like I make the next rank and I get $500 extra like a month, right? It's like, yeah, but if you actually, okay, so yeah, so that, right? You have someone, I guess two scenarios I can say is like you have a millionaire, right? He makes $1 million a year, and but the lifestyle he has is so expensive and so luxurious that he spends all of his money. So he doesn't have any assets. Everything's on rent. It's a flat lifestyle, all that. And then you have somebody that could be making 100,000, but they're investing like 10% of it, and just that little bit, it in 20, 20, 40 years when you want to retire, to not be like the 49 people that are dependent on the government, and who knows if that's even going to be around by the time that you retire, right? So you have to, I would, what I do is I don't worry about how much money I make, because that money is going to go into food and entertainment, because you can't just save all your money and not have any fun, right? So the first thing that I did, and what I would suggest people to do is find out how much money you make, and then get all your bills there, and then take away all your bills and all the things you have to pay, right? And see how much you have left. And then you have to go and say, okay, I'm going to use this much for food. And then that portion left is like the entertainment and like the lifestyle, right? So from that, it's like, what can I take from this to actually start investing, right? And if you don't know how to invest, first thing, start saving that. Like, start saving every month to see how much money you can actually save, right? And then if you care about this and you start looking into it, you'll learn you learn what an asset is and what kind of assets to buy, and if I can afford a property, if I can't afford a property, how the market is, and all this other stuff. But if you don't start with that budget and actually understanding where your money is going, then you're going to be lost. You're going to be like those 50 people that have to, the 50% of people that have to rely on the government. And that's what, like, all the information is out there for everybody to see. The only thing you have to do is actually look for it. You just have to look for it. It is out there, right? So yeah. So, and then okay, so say you can only save like $200 a month, like that's great. And hopefully you have other things going on, but say that $200 a month, it's little. It seems like it's little, but in 40 into 20 years, it'll turn into a hell of a lot more. Like you'll be surprised, and the more that you do it, the more that you'll see the growth. And then once you figure out what assets you want to buy, like housing is like one of the best assets, especially military people can have. So, and we get it for super cheap. And I'll go over that in another channel. But one of the last things I want to talk about was upgrades, and that's where you can actually start making a dent, right? You can start making a big difference, because if you're actually worried about your financial future, then what you'll understand and learn is that it comes with sacrifice. It really does. So I'll talk about what I've done to make upgrades, what I call upgrades. And I think it's the strongest thing that you can do when you're actually looking at your finances. So 2018, I left where I was before, and I came to Hawaii. And I had, well, I guess I'll start 2015. I got married, and I just started saving money. That's the only thing I did. That's the only thing I knew. It's the only thing that most people do, is just stack money in the bank, right? So by the time I left my last command and went to this command, I had a chunk of change, right? And I was sort of looking into investments and stuff, but I was going to Hawaii, and I was like, you know what? Like, people were buying houses at my last command. Like, guys were like, oh, I got this house. And they talked to me about like principal and like housing prices go up and all that stuff. And I followed them blindly. I really didn't do any research, and like in my fashion, in Tommy fashion, I just went head first. That's how I do most things. I just go straight into it. It's like, okay, like let's just throw this at it. So I don't advise this. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take, like, it's all suggestions. If anything, everything I say, I want you to actually go and research yourself, right? But me, I found a house in Hawaii before even going there and found it good price, like, and I bought it before seeing it. Bought it before seeing it. Like all the paperwork done, everything, like I had the house, haven't even seen it, right? And it was like a 3 bedroom, whatever, enough for my family, right? But it was still like $300 over my actual BAH. BAH is like basic housing allowance, right? So that's how much the government gives me to buy a house. And for military members, they know, like, you should know, like, buying a house is like key, like, because it's basically free money that the military gives you to house yourself. Be an adult and take care of a house yourself. And that's what I did. I was like, boom. And I remember people were like, "What are you doing? You are crazy. How are you going to buy a house without seeing it?" And I was like, I was like, "What's the worst that could happen? You know, like at least I'm not paying rent. I actually own this, right?" So came to Hawaii, and so I'm already 300 down, like 300 over my housing allowance, right? So I'm negative 300. So I get that 300 has to come from my monthly check, right? So I'm talking about upgrades. The one of the big upgrades I had was interest rates went down, and I refinanced my house. So my monthly payment went from 300 over my BAH to at my BAH. So I was saving $300. $300 were going into my pocket that I could use for something else. I was like, awesome, great, cool. Same with the house again. Interest rates went lower again, and I refinanced again. And then talking about those myths, that 40 myth. There are myths everywhere. I was told by people before I bought my house, and these are people I respect, love, and they're like, buying a house is stupid. Like first glance, like me 5 years ago, like I'm a loose cannon. Like I was more of a loose cannon then than I am now. So it's like buying a house, like I'd be like, "Ooh, like did you look?" Like they're like, "Did you do this? Did you do that?" I showed them everything's good. I'm financially set. They're like, "Cool." But when people that don't even have houses, that's what blows my mind. People that don't even have never done what you're doing, they'll say that that's a bad idea. It's like, why? Right? And I'll get into refinancing houses and stuff like that. But so first get there, 300 over my BH, refinance once at my BH, and then I refinanced again to 300 under BH. So I was pocketing 300 from my BH, but actually 600 from my original, because it doesn't matter what things used to be or what it was. Like I was paying 300 over BH to at level to under. So when I first got here to at that point, I was basically pocketing $600. That's a huge upgrade. That's what I mean by upgrade. And then with this same asset, my house again, what happened? 4 years later, BH goes up to 400. So that's what, like a basically like a grand upgrade. The flip right there. That's from me, like, like diving in and getting a house because it made sense to me. Because it's not like, yes, I did listen to someone originally, but it just, like, even someone talking to me that just bought a house, first time buyers, like, and other people that done that, it's like, you know what, this seems like a logical, like, good thing to do, right? So, and upgrades is going to be a big thing because about this video in particular. So another big upgrade, and most upgrades you have can come from your assets and liabilities. So that was an upgrade from my asset that we talked about before. And assets are what we're trying to get, what we are aspiring to get, to become not rich, just like be able to take care of yourself, live the life you want to live, right? That's what we're trying to get at, right? So that was um, an asset. A liability that I have, like a liability, any liability, a car is a liability. So car, I bought my car in 2014. So a year after me coming here in 2019, my car's paid off, right? And it's like a Toyota, like like it looks horrible, like sun faded, like scratched up. Like I still take care of it, but it's like a old car. So when that comes around, my wife's like, "Hey, like you've been driving that car for 5 years, like get, like let's buy you a new car." And I was like first thing pops in my head, I'm like, hell yeah, let's get a new car. I want a new car. That'd be dope. Like I want to out there stunting in my new car, get a flash new whip, whatever. But then um, I was like, wait a second, how much? I was like, honey, how much is the monthly payment that we're not paying anymore? Oh, it's like $350. I'm like, so if I don't get a new car, then it's $350. And she's like, yeah, but yeah. Oh, wait, that works. I'm like, yeah. So that's an upgrade right there. Like I was paying $350 was being taken from me for my own choices for picking up that liability, but now it's gone. So that's an upgrade, $350. So that's another big upgrade. And at the same time, what I forgot was, so when I moved here with my family, I was driving to work, right? And my wife's like, well, I want a car. And so that was before. So me not getting another car after my car payment was done, that's one upgrade. But the upgrade I did before, which is like whatever, I live about 10 miles away from my work, right? So my wife wanted a car because I had a car and she doesn't have a car. So instead of buying another car, what I did was I got a 10-speed bike and I biked my ass to work for a year and a half. And what that saved me? Like a regular car payment, 300 to $400 a month for a year and a half. Boom, an upgrade for a year and a half. What is that? Whatever. It's a lot of money. $3,000 to $5,000, right? That I made for that. Boom, that's an upgrade. Um, but I did eventually have to, like, some liabilities you have to buy because eventually it's like, you know what, I don't want this car, like I want a car. It's like, you know what, she's my wife, I love her to death, I'm gonna buy her a nice car. So I bought her the car after, but I saved to buy another car to put on the second car. So before we bought the second car, I was already making that sacrifice, making that upgrade from the payments that I wasn't making because I was, well, riding a bicycle, something as simple as that. So besides that, like, those are things you need to think about. Well, everyone should think about, right? It's like mm, like like I said before, military members, like we are gone all the time. We're working hard. Like most of us do 20 years to get that pension, right? And it just sucks that most of us, after we get that pension, like we think we're good, and we get lied. I mean, not we don't get lied to, but there's this myth going around in the air that everybody after they retire like gets this $100,000 job out of nowhere, and it's just not true. It's just not there. It just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't happen. You say everyone's like, "Oh, I'm about to retire. I'm going to get that hundred grand like contracting job." That does not happen. Sorry about that. So, three things to get out of this is the working 40 hours a week for 40 years, retiring on 40%. It doesn't work out, and that's what everybody does. It does not work out. 49% of people are going to be on Social Security. And just start looking up assets and liabilities. Rich people get assets, poor people mostly liabilities. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to end this fast because I got the guys outside cutting the grass. But thank you for watching the video, and please like and subscribe, and go ahead and comment if you would want me to go over other things. There's so many other videos I want to make about assets, stocks, buying houses, having a house, the perks of it, crypto, like a bunch of things. I think I'm going to dive into maybe like the basics of money, crypto, and stocks, because those are the three things I like quite a bit. But yeah, that's all I got for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.